Okay, this is my first attempt at trying something completely different since I'm normally quite the shy person. So, first thing I want to do, my name is John. I live in California and I have a lot of interests and things I would love to talk about or chat about with other people. So, as my first test, I want to talk about my music and why I love it so much and the bands I have downloaded in the last few months. I won't go into everything, but I will talk about it because I love bootlegs. Not the stuff you have to pay for, because you always, if you are a music lover, always buy any artist's official releases, no matter what. Bootlegs, most artists don't mind. The ones that do, like Prince, totally up to you. Personally, I have some really cool Prince stuff that's never been released. I never sell it. I listen to it, keep it in my music library. That's all I do. Anyway, so for the last few weeks, let's see. I have 3 new Van Halen shows, mainly for 2 from the 70s, 1 from the 80s, 1 from New York from 1978. Sounds fantastic. I know Van Halen only has a new live coming out next few months, but they've never officially released any live concerts with David Lee Roth. But I have about 10 to 15 from his era, and only like 2 or 3 from the Van Hagar era. Sorry. And but again, I have New York from 1978. I have Vancouver, Canada from 1979, and there's Devora, California from 1983, right before the big 1984 album hit and everything went Van Halen crazy until David Lee Roth left or got kicked out, or however you want to say it. I have kind of a rare Tom Petty and Bob Dylan together in concert from 1986. Now, I'm not a particular fan of Bob Dylan. His voice kind of hurts my ears, but I can tolerate it when I want to. And I've always loved Tom Petty for the last 30 plus years, and I think he can do no wrong. Anybody he plays with or plays backup for always sounds better because he's there, in my opinion. So, my favorite band of all time is The Police, and I had just downloaded about a 1-hour show from 1979 in Dallas, Texas. Again, The Police to me never sound bad, ever. But the only problem I've ever had with the stuff that I've downloaded from them, concert-wise or demo-wise, is that in their concerts, they never did any covers, really. They never, the concerts were about hour and a half. They never really deviated much from their playlists. So, I mean, I love all the songs, no matter for the rest of my life, I love the songs. But to me, it would have been nice in concert if they did a little more different things and not just, most of the popular stuff. They went pretty much by the book as far as the length and never went into the long, like 8-minute version of, say, Roxanne or anything like that. But again, love them, always have. Favorite band of all time. When they were coming around California in 2007, my wife, my beautiful wife, was nice enough and amazing enough to put some money aside in a few months in advance, and we got to see them live in Oakland. And that was the most amazing concert of my life. And of course, I checked the paper 2 days afterward, and I got the worst review I've ever seen. But again, I was there. Basically, the whole stadium was dancing and screaming and having a great time. I personally didn't see where that reviewer got the impression that the concert was as terrible as it was written up for. But again, all they played was the hits. Concert was about 1 hour and 40 minutes. I personally loved it. But again, I had never seen them before. And that's pretty much what I expected. But it was fun. Anyway, There's some really rare tracks from AC/DC with Bon Scott and without. The stuff with Bon Scott sounds amazing. I can't remember the name of the band, but the band he played in before he played with AC/DC sounds really, really different. It's really, really mellow. More of a like late 60s, early 70s, almost psychedelic. But again, I liked it. I thought it was cool. Not the AC/DC power, jailbreak and everything else. Nothing like that. But again, fantastic stuff. I also have them from 1977 at the Waldorf in San Francisco, which was a lot of fun from what I've read on old reviews, and supposedly one of their best shows. The sound quality from the site that I got it from sounds great. I mean, it's almost unbeatable. It sounds like it was recorded yesterday. So, I mean, if you're really into, the classic rock bands in their original lineup, mainly original lineup, soundboard recordings are the best, in my opinion. And as far as quality, MP3 is my preferred, just because they can be compressed and you can put a lot onto an iPod or iPad or whatever you choose. Now, the lossless, which is basically called FLAC, FLAC, does sound a lot more crisp, a lot more bass, in my opinion. But the files are about 4 to 5 times bigger than most regular MP3s. I mean, I do have the storage capacity, luckily enough, to probably download 1 million songs, and that's fine. But with FLAC, it would take up so much more space, and FLAC doesn't really have a player that you can use unless you want to get what's called an iRiver, which is the only one I know of really that you can download FLAC files to and play them. Again, FLAC does sound much better because you don't get the compression from FLAC to MP3. But MP3 to me sounds completely fine. I can turn it up loud. It sounds great. But FLAC does sound better. But if you want to lose a lot of space, go FLAC. Up to you. I have Steve Miller from Shady Grove Music Fair, wherever the heck that is. But again, quality is fantastic. More of a bluesy. Some of the early hits from the 70s were there. And it does sound incredible. I mean, Steve Miller, I have him from the 70s up until his last album release a few years ago. He still has it. I think he's either almost 70 or in the 70s. And he still sounds really, really good. He still sounds like he has a great time in concert. So I love it. But again, when he's younger, in the 70s, he's got a lot more boom to his voice, in my opinion, even singing the blues. But I think that he has never lost it. And when I went to see him in concert in the 90s, saw at the Concord Pavilion, he sounded great. He does seem to be a little stage fright or shy because he had his shades on at 9:30 at night, and every time he spoke to the audience, he had his head down. So maybe he's just a little shy with looking at people, which I've heard some lead singers actually do. Like the lead singer from Rammstein, he is, from what I've read, is incredibly frightened to be on stage. So when he's on stage, he'll look at something above the audience the entire show. I mean, he has everything scripted, so he knows exactly what to say, when to say it. And he can read off the playlist or whatever. But as far as looking at the audience and acknowledging the audience, he really has a hard time because he's just shy or social anxiety, whatever it is. Same thing with Maynard from Tool. I've heard that he stands in the back behind the drums and sings. I don't know if that he, from what I've read, again, doesn't like being up in front of people very much. Loves to sing, but hates the glamour, which is fine because I'm a huge Tool fan. I would never, bang on somebody I've never met before, just because he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to jump up in front and, flex and do a David Lee Roth and do a backflip and do karate moves and all that. All he wants to do is sing, sing, get the show done, get paid, go. Again, my opinion, just what it is. All right, got some outtakes demos from Bruce Springsteen from 1975 to 85. Now, some of these are actually really, really cool because some of the songs from Springsteen that you really know, you either get a completely early version with, say, different lyrics or a different riff in the guitar, or, I mean, if you're not into it, you're not into it. But someone like me who, knows the artists they like and knows most of the songs these people have put out, when things sound different or they add a singer or things they've taken out or added, to me sound great. Again, I have probably 50 unreleased Bob Marley songs. Not everyone's into Bob Marley, but I'm into his demos, the unreleased songs, to have tons of concerts and everything. That's totally worth it. So now I have Cheap Trick from 1986 in Edinburgh. Recently, probably a couple of years ago, got more into Cheap Trick. I've heard of him since the early 80s, but I never really got into him until a few years ago. Now, I've downloaded probably 15 to 20 of their shows, and I think they're fantastic. They've been around forever. They've been around since the mid to early 70s. The stuff I've heard from when they toured the last time they came out, they sound fantastic. They're older rockers, but they still sound great. And I can't wait to, if they ever put out another album, I'll get it. Any shows they come out with that I can get a soundboard recording of, I'll take it, I'll listen to it, and I'll enjoy it. So, just because they're old rockers, don't count them out. If you still like the old rock, they're definitely worth it. Okay. Now, Paul Rodgers from Bad Company have an iHeartRadio live show, about an hour long. And basically, it's him doing blues covers, which I thought was fantastic. He's done blues. He had a blues album come out that was all covers, too, a few years ago, and that sounded great. But this is a little bit different songs. And again, the quality, gotta have that soundboard recording, in my opinion. Some of the people who stand two rows back with a recorder, sometimes they sound okay. In my opinion, a lot of the time they don't. Because everything's muffled, the singing sounds way too far away, and it's just, to me, nowhere near as pleasurable as the soundboard recording that comes from the actual band's sound recording, or you get an FM broadcast from a radio station that either pre-recorded or is live there that they put back on the radio, and someone recorded and put on the Bootleg site, which was fine. 99 times out of 100, FM broadcasts sound fantastic. And some are not all that great because some go way back to even the 40s and the 50s, when the mono recordings from back then can tend to sound a little muffled. Again, fantastic. I have some stuff from Frank Sinatra from FM broadcasts from the 40s and 50s. They sound okay, but again, they're not clear. They're a bit muffled. But again, it's Frank Sinatra. If you're a Sinatra fan, great stuff. Easy to find, still very, very popular. And again, I have unreleased songs, demos, all kinds of stuff. And it's really cool. I really enjoy it. So, let's see, I have some JayZ demos. Not much into JayZ or any other recent hip-hop artist at all. But, again, they have their place. I have JayZ, Biggie Smalls, and have some Tupac. Now, Tupac was, to me, more of a poet than a musician. He was amazing. He did his thing, and he knew how to perform, and the way he passed away sucked, and he should still be alive making music and making money to this day, but that's life, unfortunately. But Biggie Smalls, same kind of thing. He died way too early, had a ton more music to give the entire world. Again, not a huge fan. Some of the stuff I listen to, it sounds pretty good. Some of it sounds a little formula for normal hip hop, in my opinion. But again, if you love Biggie Smalls, great stuff. Look for it. This Biggie Small demos. Type it into Google. You'll find it. Trust me. Let's see. We got some old Molly Hatchet. Again, if you're into Skinnerd or just Southern rock itself, can't really go wrong with Molly Hatchet. A little different. I'm really not much into country music, but I've always been a huge Skinnerd fan, and Molly Hatchet pretty much, in my opinion, took over once Skinnerd, their plane went down and Ronnie and everybody else passed away. The Molly Hatchet kind of took the helm for a while as far as Southern rock. And Molly Hatchet, maybe even Blackfoot, something like that. Those, they had their place. They had their time. 38 Special, that's another Van Zandt brother that did fantastic. 38 Special was great. They still are. They still tour to this day, and I'm not sure they put out any albums recently because I haven't checked, honestly. But I think that it's fantastic that they can still be around. They still have fans. And they can tour America and still make some money and still have their old songs, maybe some new songs, do some covers. It's fantastic. You can make your money, still be a musician, have fun. I have some Godsmack from 2000 in Toledo, of all places. This is really early Godsmack, so they sound really, really raw and really, really angry, which I think is great because most bands when they start out, they first start getting popular, I think they still want to. They really want to impress everybody. So when they're out there in their concerts, when they're finally getting noticed and their videos are coming out, when they're in concert, they really, really love to put on a heavy, heavy show and louder and louder. And again, I love the thunderous, loud metal, Disturbed, Tool, Godsmack, Lamb of God, that kind of stuff. Slipknot, that kind of thing. That's fun. Just bang your head and get out your aggressions and listen to good music and amazing lyrics, and that's the way it should be. It has some one of my all-time favorites, Alice in Chains from 1990. Again, Alice in Chains still is probably in my top 3 favorite bands of all time. When Lane Staley passed away, I thought they were gone for good because Jerry Cantrell had put out a solo album right after Lane died. The album was dedicated to Lane Staley, and then they'd been talked like, Alice in Chains is pretty much over. Don't know, they can put out solo albums, they can do what they want. But when they came back with William DeVoe, which I think sounds really, really good. He's no Lane Staley. He never claims to be and never will be. But, the Black Girls Read the Blue was a fantastic album. The Devil Put Dinosaurs Here, another fantastic album. And the show from 1990 in Westminster, you can really hear the depth of Lane Staley and Jerry Cantrell's voices. They sound great. They sound amazing. And Mike Starr on the bass, he sounds great. Too bad that both of them had to have that addiction that ultimately took their life away, and it's horrible. But you move on, and they have, and they're still rocking to this day. I loved it when they played the Seahawks game for the championship before they went to the Super Bowl, and I thought they sounded great, and I hope they come back again in a few years with another album, and I'll be the first in line to be there, and we'll listen to it and buy it and crank it up as loud as it'll go. Now, one of the ones I actually downloaded this morning was Boston from 1976. Not a big Boston fan, but that's because they're more soft. To me, they're a softer band, but they are classic rock. More Than a Feeling, and they have a nice catalog of good songs. And I would love to get more shows and get more into them. There's not a big call for any Boston Soundboard shows. This is the site that I go to. I'm sure there's a bunch listed somewhere that I haven't looked yet, and I will find. But again, not a big fan. huge classic rock fan, but not really into the softer, like Little River Band kind of rock, as they would actually call it. It's more, to me, it can be way too mellow and too, I guess, love song-ish or depression. But again, and there's obviously millions and millions of people who love it and will just listen to it till the day they die. Because a lot of the stuff that, in my opinion, the stuff of today, there's some really great rock being put out today. I believe that. So again, you get Alice in Chains, you get Lamb of God. For the Southern rockers, Blackberry Smoke had a new album come out last week. The album's phenomenal. They sound better than ever. I don't see how they had a chance to record an album while they've been on tour for the last 2 years. And now they're going to go back out on tour again, which that's a lot of work. But they're making it work, and they're getting popular, and the songwriting and the musicianship is getting better and better with every album. And I hope they make it huge. Another band I like rock-wise, kind of softer, but still, I love the beats they use as congos. They have 2 albums out, and the last one they put out, they're still touring with, and they just actually started their own world tour. They're actually headlining, and when they hopefully they come around my area in a few months, I want to be dead center, like 10 rows back, and just sweat my butt off with the whole show and just have fun. And I know all the songs, but they're a really, really up and coming band, and they sound fantastic. And I really hope that they keep striving the way they're going. They suppose, from what I've read from their website, they have 2 or 3 new songs they're adding to the playlist for the live shows, and I can't wait to hear the songs I've never heard. So hopefully I'll get some soundboards off of that within hopefully 6 months or less, because a lot of the shows are being broadcast now on iHeartRadio or just streaming live, and a lot of people record that and then put it onto the site I go to for all my downloads for soundboards and FM broadcasts and everything else. So now, not really sure what to do. This is my first attempt at doing this, and it's actually a lot of fun. And it gives me a chance to get a thing off my chest, or just have fun, or just talk about anything. If anybody wants to ask me, please go right ahead. I have no problem. You can ask me whatever you want. As far as sports on the weekend, I know the All-Star game was huge, and I personally feel that the All-Star game, I know is very, very exciting to watch as far as NBA All-Star game, but when teams combined start scoring like 320 points, there really has to be some kind of, I don't know, they could shorten the quarters, or just go to, instead of 4 12-minute quarters, go to 2 20-minute halves, just something, because it's again fun to watch. You're gonna get a lot of viewers because there's so many dunks and so much 3-point shooting, and just fun stuff, and throwing it off the backboard, and just reverse dunks, like the slam dunk contest. That's, to me, one of the best I've seen in a while. It was actually a lot of fun. There was a lot of creativity. I mean, I rarely see a guy do a 540 dunk. 360 has been done 100,000 times, but a 540 rarely ever gets done. So that was a lot of fun. Between the legs, backward, the creativity as far as the dunk contest, I hope stays up and coming, because for a while I felt it was stale. Because everyone says, well, it's all been done before. Well, I don't necessarily agree with that. I mean, Jordan and Dr. J, and hell, even Larry Nance when he won, that's where so much started. But that there's so much more creativity left that a lot of these guys today all they focus on is dunking, so they should be able to come up with something original and do their own thing. Now, a lot of those guys, at least in past events, go to the jumping over somebody or jumping over a car, or one bounce off the backboard reverse that it's been done 8 million times. But there has to be, and obviously from what I saw on Saturday, there's still a ton of creativity left, and it hasn't all done before, like everyone has been saying, including myself. So I was really, really impressed with the slam dunk contest, the shooting, 3-point shooting. I think Steph Curry is just out of his mind good. I mean, how in the world do you score 27 on the 3-point contest? That's unheard of. I mean, he made 13 straight. And it's playing in the actual game the next day. Just, the passing and just, especially I don't know what you call that, not really, that alley-oop he had James Harden after Curry stole the ball, just flipped it up to him. That's amazing. That's like Magic Johnson-esque, if not better. And that, to me, is saying a lot. I mean, so many people passed on Steph Curry because of his size, and the Warriors drafted him, I believe, first round. And he had problems with his ankles for the first few years. He'd play about 30, 40 games. His ankle would go out. He'd be out for 10 to 15 games. Or he'd, sprain really bad and be out for 30 or 40, or however many, it caused a problem for the first few years. But the Warriors never gave up on him, and he never gave up on himself. So I think that he is now either top tier or top 3 as far as NBA stars, and as far as skill and just creativity. I mean, you can shoot it from anywhere. You can shoot a 3 from just stop, jump 2 feet, and hit it every time. It's amazing. I used to go to Warrior games in the '80s with Purvis Short and Joe Barry Carroll and Chris Mullin and just all those, Mitch Richmond, all those guys. See them back then. They weren't the real high flying. They were, shoot it outside. Chris Mullin was, dead eye from 3-point land. Even though when I saw him in the celebrity game, that was almost painful to watch to see him. But again, he's up there in age, and he's not really concentrating on what he's doing. So he's just having fun. But seeing that stuff back then compared to now with the Warriors is fantastic. The Warriors are having a great year. I just don't want them to do what unfortunately the San Jose Sharks tend to do. Have that fantastic regular season, go to the playoffs, and just dive. I expect the Warriors will probably be like 65-17, and have the first round home advantage, best record in the league, and then they'll go out in 5. 3 straight, done. I hope that doesn't happen. I want the Warriors to be strong enough to go all the way, and then they haven't had a title since the 70s. I mean, it's the Bulls won it so many times, the Spurs, the Lakers. It was about time that the Warriors stepped up and did something, more than playoffs did. Maybe win one round and then go out. So we'll see. I mean, there's so much talent in the NBA. To me, there's a few too many teams. There's still so many teams making it to the playoffs now, and I believe the first round's still 5 games, and the rest is 7-game series, which to me takes entirely too long. Because to me, I believe the playoffs take 2 months. It's ridiculous. I mean, back in the day, and because I'm a huge Sixers fan, or I used to be, when Dr. J was playing. They had the first round was best of 3. The championship, when the Sixers won the championship, it was a best of 5. You know, everything's so drawn out now. It takes so long, and if you're in a Game 7 in the championship, say for the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference, say the Eastern Conference finishes in 4 games, then the Western has teams are tied 2-2. They're going to play the next 3. Well, those 3 will be play 1 game, rest 2 days, play 1 game, rest 3 days. So it takes a week and a half to finish 3 games, while the other team is just sitting there waiting, and it draws it out, and it takes too long. I know it's, from what I've read, it's about the money, and that's fine. Make all the money you can, but to me, you lose fan interest when it takes so long. You know, the NFL, January to basically February 1st is the playoffs, if that. You know, that 2-week break from the championship to the Super Bowl, to me, is entirely too long. But they had to, give it again. They got to give it the hype. They have, the media week or media day or whatever it is after the first week. Got to hype it up, and I'll do like all the halftime festivities. Especially when they actually pick somebody decent to sing with the halftime. But again, I don't want to stray too far from what I'm saying. But I love the NFL too. Will always love the NFL. I'm a huge Chicago Bears fan. Always will be. Saw them. I used to live in New York. They played a lot of Bears games in the morning times, and saw Walter Payton play with the Bears, and that was pretty much converted me from a Cowboys fan to a Bears fan. That was 1981. And will always be, no matter how terrible, especially this year, how terrible they tend to be. And since this is my first try, I'm going to cut this just a little bit short. And thank you to my one single viewer, whoever you are. I appreciate you taking the time to check out my first attempt, and I'll try to come back soon. And it's actually a lot of fun. A lot of things off the top of my head had to, make this work. And again, sorry it's so short, but I will be coming back soon, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.